So I think we're going to get started now. Once again, welcome and thank you for joining us on today's information session for prospective Mastercard scholars. We are very excited to have you join this call, and it will be about a 15 to 20-minute presentation. We will have time at the end of the session for some Q&A, so feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box or in the chat. My name is Lee, and I'm one of the admissions coordinator for the Faculty of Forestry in the Master of Geomatics for Environmental Management program. We do have a number of master's programs that we'll go over today, and my colleague Rebecca is also on the call today. Rebecca?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Rebecca. I'm the admissions coordinator. I oversee Masters of Sustainable Forestry Management and Master of International Forestry, and I do similar jobs with Lee. We take care of admission inquiries and admission evaluation for the forestry master's program.
Thank you, Rebecca. Before we get started, I just wanted to also clarify that this session is to answer questions about the admission process for applying to forestry. If your question is related to the Mastercard scholarship process, we do encourage that you attend the information session that they also host. I believe they had one recently on September 9th, and there will be another one in October. So feel free to join their sessions to learn about the process for applying for Mastercard. Next slide, please. And we also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge that we're gathered today on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. UBC is located in the Vancouver and Okanagan campus. The Faculty of Forestry is in the Vancouver UBC campus. Next slide. And here are some photos to give you an idea of where we are. So the top left corner is the inside of the Forest Science Center. This is our atrium. As you can see, it's very lovely and bright. We also have photos of Vancouver. We have the Malcolm Research Forest as well, and some of the students in our program will have a chance to visit the research forest. Vancouver UBC campus currently has over 61,000 students. The Faculty of Forestry grad program has over 420 grad students, and they come from very diverse background. Next slide, please. So we have about 5 master's programs currently, and these are actually we have 6 master's programs, but these 5 are the only ones that are eligible for the Mastercard scholarship. As you can see, there are 3 course-based programs, and there are 2 research programs. The Master of Science and the Applied Science are the research, and the Geomatics, Sustainable Forest, and International Forestry program are the professional course-based programs. And we will cover a little bit of each of these programs in the next few slides. Next, please. Before we get started, I also want to provide an important timeline. So the Mastercard applications, as you know, are open. The deadline for that is October 31st. And please submit your applications directly to the Mastercard office before that deadline. We were told that the Mastercard office will reach out to the applicants who are eligible to proceed to the next step around mid-November or November 22nd. This email will actually include the application fee waiver code if you apply for that at the time of your application. Once you get that email, you're encouraged to send in an application to one of the programs that we just mentioned. MGEM is the Geomatics, MIF is the International Forestry, and MSFM is the Sustainable Forest Management Program. Those who are interested in the research programs, there will be some spots, limited spots as well, and the deadline for that is January 7th to send in your application. This program, you will need to reach out to a supervisor after you receive your email from Mastercard, we will have instructions on how to proceed. My understanding is that you'll have to reach out to a supervisor or faculty member in forestry who you're interested in working with, and you will be indicating that in your application. Next slide, please. I will be calling this program MGEM for short. This is a 9-month program that begins end of August, and it ends usually around end of April. We encourage students who are interested in learning more about GIS, geospatial tools, more programming, or interested in a career that uses remote sensing to be in this program. They will graduate with a number of geospatial tools and skills needed in order to thrive in the industry. And the students who graduate from this program are not necessarily all working in the forestry industry. Some of them are working as consultants and also for nonprofit companies and government using GIS. The only requirement or prereq for this program is an introductory course in statistics. Next slide, please. As you can see in this picture, we have some outdoor experiential learning for our students. So the beauty of this program is you get hands-on experience learning technical skills in the classroom and outside of the classroom. We kick off this program end of August. You get to do a 1-week retreat at the Malcolm Knapp Research Forest and also Loon Lake. The students are using drones there and also various equipment to measure trees. They also learn about landscape ecology. Sorry, I just got an email in the chat, or see something, a comment in the chat. We will address this shortly after the presentation. So there's a number of programs besides learning about technical skills. We also have some professional skills such as communication and project management, and also working teamwork. So you'll learn various skills, like I mentioned, and at the end, you'll also be able to present a capstone project that you will work with either with a faculty member or a community partner over the 9 months. Next, please. And I will pass this over to Rebecca, who will speak about the Master of Sustainable Forest Management.
Thank you, Lee. So this Master of Sustainable Forest Management program is 9 months program. It is accredited by CFCB, which is Canadian Forestry Accreditation Board, and SAF, Society of American Foresters. And this accreditation ensures that the program meets the highest standards of quality and relevance. And the graduates of MSFM have the opportunity to obtain registered professional forester, which is RPF designation upon completing this program. And if you're seeking a forestry related job that requires this designation, this is the program you should be enrolled. And our graduates from 23 have 95% successful in securing forestry related jobs. So this is really beneficial program for those who are looking into getting jobs in forestry related jobs. So this program provides training and the students have the chance to learn every aspect of forestry by doing some research first, and they have hands-on field work, including land information acquisition and analysis, site-level management and sustainable land management practices. And they often go off-site location to meet professionals from government consultants and public consultation indigenous people, which is very unique experience. Yeah. So some of the required academic backgrounds for this program, we have several required courses, which includes statistics, ecology, intro to economics, earth sciences, either geology, soils, or geography with geological emphasis, if you don't have any of these courses completed in your bachelor's, you can still try to enroll this program before you apply to the program. And yeah, of course, the enrolled courses needs to be completed by the start of the program the following year. Enrollment of these courses allows you to showcase your preparedness and commitment to the program you're applying for. Yeah, so next slide. These are the photos of our students doing some field work. The program starts in August. They will go on day trips on campus or near campus to tour around the campus and to tour the Vancouver city. And then the following week, the students go to Nelson, BC for a week for a field trip, which seems very fun. And they get to go on field trip in different locations in BC to experience some field work as well. Our next program is the Master of International Forestry. So this is 12 months program. It consists of 8 months in-person courses on campus, followed by 2 to 4 months of internship or placements in the summer following year. The students enrolled in MIF, they have the opportunity to learn the skills to seek, negotiate, and implement solutions for complex issues, such as global forest challenges and climate change, and evolving trends in forests and society, and yeah, much more. The program will cover a wide range of topics, including social, community, and indigenous forestry, forest business enterprise, and international forest governance and policy. And most importantly, you will be trained in skills to work with international organizations from various leadership and management workshops. For MIF admission, it doesn't really have required prerequisites, but we preferably look for applicants with a genuine interest in starting or further developing a career in international forestry. And we accept students from diverse backgrounds. But preferably, we look for students with academic backgrounds in forestry, of course, and environmental and natural resources economics, agriculture sciences, and geography. For the internship summer placement, in the past, MIF students went all different parts of the world to complete their internship part of the program. Our recent cohort had their internship opportunities with CIF ICRAF in Nairobi, Kenya, and some students had the opportunity to go back to their home country to do their internship. And the internship opportunities and the desired internship is discussed with the program coordinator and the program director throughout the program. And if you have any questions or detailed questions about the internship, you are welcome to contact the program coordinator, Peter Woods, to have detailed information about the placement and internship part of the program. Yeah, and here's some photos of our recent cohort in their classroom and their field trip. And yeah, and I think the bottom middle photo is from the students who are doing their internship in some other parts of the world. Yeah, so this is about it. We'll move on to next slide. Program requirements and how to apply. General admission requirements. Yeah, so this is very general. Of course, we went through the specific program requirements in the previous slides, but generally, we are looking at B+ average range in upper level courses. That must be equivalent of 4-year bachelor's degree with a minimum in UBC or USA credentials. If you are from African countries or if you have other credentials other than Canadian or US credentials, we have a link that provides you information of the minimum academic requirements for foreign country credentials on our webpage, which I will share with you later on in the chat box. And if for applicants whose prior degree is from a university outside Canada in which English is not the primary language of instruction, must provide English language proficiency official results of an English from acceptable testing agency. One of the examples would be TOEFL, IELTS, KILE, PTE. I will share this link that from the Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies website for a complete list of acceptable testing agencies. Yeah. Slide. I'll pass it on to Lee for how to apply.
Thank you, Rebecca. So just wanted to briefly go over that GPA. For students who are applying from Africa, we usually look at second class upper division, and we will base it on the transcript, on the grading keys. So I know that sometimes they have different, it's out of 5-point scale. And I've seen some, I believe, around 10, but I think most of them are from 5-point scale. So we will be looking at what your transcript grading keys are. In terms of how to apply, what does a complete application look like? So this is not the Mastercard application. This is the application to forestry. The Mastercard office has their own complete application, and they may have different documents, and they may have some overlapping documents that we require as well. However, for our documents, we do have an application, an online application portal, and you'll have to create a CWL, and that is through the How to Apply button. And just before I get started again, I want to reiterate that you don't need to apply today. You will find out if you're eligible or not to apply in mid-November. So only start this process after you hear back from Mastercard office. So the application will require you to upload all official transcripts from post-secondary institutions. We also require 3 minimum referees, and one of them will have to be an academic reference who can attest to your academic abilities. Most of you will probably graduate from a school where English is the official language, so you will not need to submit the English language proficiency test. You'll also need to provide the program questionnaire, which is built in the application portal, and also a letter of intent, why you're interested in our program, and just give us a little bit more about what your interests and goals are and what you hope to achieve when you finish the program. The committee actually do put a lot of emphasis on this letter of intent. So I encourage you to put some effort into drafting or crafting this letter. And lastly, we also need a resume to go with your application. Next, please. So the deadline, once again, is December 13th, and it's about, I think, 11:59 PST. That's when the application will end. So if you can supply your full application, which includes all those supporting documents, by that date, we will be able to consider your application for the Mastercard scholarship. If you have any further questions, you can also reach out forestry.cbm@ubc.ca, and you can learn more on our webpage here. Is this the end? I think this might be the end of our presentation. So if you have any further questions, feel free to put in the chat and we'll try to address it. I know there were some questions that were also asked before this session, so we'll try and answer some of those questions as well. One of the questions that did show up earlier was about the statistics course for the MGEM. We are looking for a university level statistics course, not an online course like Coursera.
And that would apply the same to MSFM as well.
One of the questions that Lydia has supplied us, do you need to have any forestry work experience? That is a wonderful question. And the reason for that is because some of these degrees are professional degrees, and the committee does like to see some professional work experience. So it's not a requirement, but if you have any industry work experience, we highly encourage you to talk about that in your application because it will be an asset to your application. And it doesn't have to be necessarily in forestry, but it could be related. One of the questions was about using an unofficial transcript from WES. We do not accept the WES evaluations. We will require that you upload all your official transcripts, and we will use the grading keys to determine what is the B+, which is second class upper.
I have just shared the link to MCF program website from UBC for eligibility for MCF application.
Thank you, Rebecca. How will the referees send their recommendations, and can they use Gmail to provide their reference letters? That is another excellent question. No, they cannot use their personal email like Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo. So when you indicate their email address, you must use an institutional email address. The system will block the personal email accounts. So once you use their institutional email, they will receive an email asking them to upload a reference letter on your behalf.
I have included a link for reference letters guide from the GNPS in the chat box.
Thank you. There's a question about age requirement. Generally in our program, the forestry program, there is no age requirement. However, for the Mastercard scholarship, I believe they do have an age requirement. So once again, we encourage you to check in with the Mastercard office or attend their info session. And I believe it may be on their website as well on eligibility requirements.
Yeah, from the MCF website, it says be 35 years old or younger at the time of application. For example, born in 1989 or after. That's the age limit for MCF application.
So one of the questions says, do we have to wait until we hear from Mastercard before we apply to your school? Yes. I encourage you to wait. So I encourage you to send an application to Mastercard first before the October 31st deadline. And once they tell you that you're eligible to move to the next step, then you apply to our program. If you apply now, we will not be reevaluating the applications yet until we hear from Mastercard whether or not you're one of the eligible applicants.
We have another question asking if they don't want to apply through MCF scholarship, when do I start applying for the programs? You can apply directly using the application portal from UBC Grad School. The application opens on October 1st this year.
That's correct.
Yeah, and the deadline for application is February 15th next year.
So that's only for those who are not being considered for Mastercard scholarship. If you are hoping to be considered for Mastercard scholarship, we have an earlier adjudication. So please get your applications in before December 13th. We have a question about, do you need a supervisor prior to applying? This will apply to only the research program, so the Master of Science and Master of Applied Science. Once you receive notification from Mastercard that you're eligible to apply, then you can reach out to prospective faculty members to let them know that you're interested in working with them, and then they will review your application. So once again, this is only for the research degrees. It's not applicable to the MGEM, MIF, or MSFM program. There's a question about grade form level. I'm not really sure what this one grade form level is. And we have questions about background, academic background, whether or not students can apply if they have an arts and humanities background. So once again, depends on which program you're interested in. I understand that the International Forestry and MGEM program in the past have taken students from a wide range, from geography, arts, computer science, mathematics, and environmental science students. The MSFM, I believe, have more of a science prereq, so most of the students applying there have biology background, maybe in earth science as well. However, we have students who switch careers, so they may be a student who doesn't have these background. But if your application is strong and you can show that you have the prereqs to do this program, then certainly we would encourage you to apply.
Yeah, so for MSFM, there were some cases where applicants without the forestry related backgrounds have been admitted. They were admitted based on their core science courses in such as like biology, ecology, or geology, and along with additional courses in soils, and also relevant professional experience such as like tree planting and restoration work can also strengthen your application.
Thanks, Rebecca. I had a question about, do I have to get admission to UBC to apply for MCF? So once again, you have to apply to MCF first and then apply to forestry. So the order is, don't apply to UBC directly, apply to Mastercard office first. If you're not interested in the Mastercard scholarship, then you can apply to us after October 1st when our applications open. There's a question about whether or not we will look at percentage for requirements, like out of 100, instead of using, once again, we're looking at the equivalent of a B+. So 76% is UBC standard. However, your institution's B+ may be a different percentage. So we will be looking at the grading keys for your university. So please ensure that you submit your grading keys when you upload your transcripts. Not just the transcript, but the grading keys and the degree certificate if you have completed a bachelor's degree. At UBC, the A first class is an A minus. This is a question that came up in the chat. Rebecca, do you see any questions here that I may have missed?
I'm going to the chat box.
And are students expected to write a thesis? One of the questions. Yes, so if you are applying for the research program, the Master of Science or Master of Applied Science, then there is a thesis component to the program. If you are applying to one of the other professional degrees, it's usually a capstone project and a report that you have to submit. There is no thesis for the professional course-based programs.
I see a question asking whether undergrad degree is the only required to apply, or honors degree considered too. You must hold a bachelor's degree in order to apply for a master's program at UBC. So if you're only holding honors degree program, you are not eligible for applying a master's program at UBC.
There is a question about scholarships. If you're not eligible for the Mastercard scholarship, do we offer any other international scholarships for these programs? No. So the course-based programs or the professional degrees that we were talking about, they're all fully funded by students. We don't have international scholarships at this time for these programs. So regarding your transcripts, there's a question about if you're not completing all the courses yet, what kind of grades are we looking at? We will be looking at the grades that are available right now for the courses that you've taken. And one of the questions asked if we're looking at GRE. No, we do not require GRE in the program. I just want to also mention that the Mastercard website has a wealth of resources as well. I noticed that they uploaded videos recently on how to strengthen your application and what common mistakes people have made in the past, and also how to talk about there seems to be an echo here. I don't know if everyone is muted, but sorry, don't. And also what common mistakes people are getting. So please spend a little bit of time with the Mastercard webpage and see how to strengthen your application. Do we have any other questions, Rebecca?
No, I'm just sharing grad studies link on how to write a strong statement of interest. This is really useful page. It guides you on how to write a good statement of intent as part of your application.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, that's very useful.
Yeah, the last page also has some tutorial videos on how to write a good statement of interest.
Yeah. There's a question about whether or not they should reach out to a professor at this stage to connect, and the answer is no. we encourage you not to do anything until you hear back from the Mastercard office, which is around November 22nd. So once you receive that email from the Mastercard office and sharing with you whether or not you're eligible to proceed to the next step, that is when you should reach out to the professor.
I've also included a link for the page from the grad studies for those who are interested in thesis-based master's program. This link tells you how to approach to your prospective supervisors before applying to the program. And it also has a supervisor directory on the page.
There's a question also recently that came in about do all the reference letters have to come from an educational background or an academic reference? So the answer is no. We only require one letter to come from an academic referee. And if you have any professional work experience, we also strongly recommend that you get a reference letter from your employer or somebody who supervised you, worked closely with you, who can speak about your professional experience as well. We could try and share the links. One of the comments is at the end of the session, if we're able to share these links, Rebecca might be able to put together these links and we can definitely send it out to, this session is actually being recorded, and apologies that we didn't mention this up front. We could share this information, the links to the people who registered for this session. We do have another session that's happening on October 1st. It is the same time. We don't encourage you to attend that because it's exactly the same session as today. It's for anybody who are still interested, but they weren't able to join in today's call. So if you have any friends or relatives or anyone who's interested and they missed today's call, please encourage them to sign up for the next information session. Do we have any other further questions? We will leave the chat open for another couple minutes.
And if you have MCF application specific questions, you are welcome to join the MCF info session that's held by MCF office. I believe the links to register and the information has been sent out to all of you.
Maybe, I think, Rebecca, can you share the link again to the Mastercard info session?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, they do have, one of the questions is there a way we can reach out to whoever's in charge of the Mastercard scholarship prior to applying? They do have a number of staff in their office who can help you with questions on how to apply to the Mastercard, but they also have very useful info sessions, and Rebecca will be sharing the link in there. You can register for those sessions. One of the questions is what social and emotional support are available for students. Once again, the Mastercard team has abundance of resources for these Mastercard scholars. We currently in our program have, I believe, 11 Mastercard scholars, and across campus, I believe there's up to 30. So there's a team that provides support and social networking, and also for students to meet in person as well once you're in the program, and they will help you with the transition process. So I'll let the Mastercard office talk to you guys about those emotional and social support. And there's a question here about clarification on academic background for international forestry. Do the program accept applicants from non-forestry background? Rebecca, did you want to clarify that one?
Yes, so the MIF students are from diverse backgrounds, and some of them have no forestry relevant academic background, but they do have some sort of forestry relevant professional work outside their academic background. So if you have any professional experience that you can relate it to your interests to the MIF program, and if you can elaborate it in your statement of intent, that would be great. But it's not like limited to only forestry relevant academic background applicants. So you are welcome to apply.
And we had a question about the requirements for Master of Science and Master of Applied Science. It's the same requirement. So we are looking for a B+ average overall in your bachelor's degree. And we generally are looking for students who have prerequisites that are similar to the topics that you're interested in going into. So if it's more of a environmental science, we're looking for people who have environmental science or some science-based forestry background. We currently don't have the number of spots. We don't know yet the number of spots we have for each of these programs. So we encourage you to put in a strong application for the program that you're really, really interested in doing. And one of the questions is if you don't have statistics background, do you still qualify? So you don't need to have a statistics background, but you do need an introductory to statistics course in your undergrad degree. And if you don't have that, then I would encourage that you take a statistics course, and you have to complete it before you graduate. So if it's not in your application or transcript right now, you should mention how you will complete that course before you start the MGEM program. Yeah, so like similar to the Master of International Forestry, we have questions about what kind of undergrad degree the MGEM program is looking for. It's a very diverse background. We have students applying before with geography, environmental science, computer science, planning, landscape architect. So any of those background, and if it's not in that realm, you can still also apply.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell whether you're suitable for the program just looking at your academic background, because we review holistic view of the application package. So as long as you meet the minimum requirements, you're welcome to apply.
If you did put a question in there and we have somehow missed your question, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. I apologize that we are trying our best to answer all these questions, but we may have missed some. We are almost at the end of this session. If we don't have any further questions in the next few minutes, then we will conclude today's presentation. And we can also, we will also have like another session on October 1st. Like I said, it is exactly the same presentation.
We have another question, whether an applicant can apply more than one program during the application season. Yes,
That is
you
a
can.
question. No, actually, Rebecca, that's a
Oh, no.
question for the Mastercard office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So if you're not applying to the Mastercard scholarship in the past, we have had students who apply to multiple programs. However, if it is through the Mastercard scholarship, I encourage you to check with the Mastercard office on whether or not you can apply to more than one program. And I see another question about whether or not students can apply to our programs if they don't have any professional experience. You can certainly apply to the Mastercard scholarship if you meet all their eligible requirements. Whether or not you can still, and then if you're eligible, you can apply to our program as well. And in the past, students have applied to our program with or without any work experience. So if your question is very specific, I see one about saying that they have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, and they want to be considered for a Master of Applied Science degree. Yes, if you have an engineering background, then you can definitely apply for the Master of Applied Science degree if your application moves to the next phase. We have a question about whether or not students can apply without paying the application fee if they're not applying through MasterCard. So there is a list of 50, I think there's almost 50 countries that are underdeveloped. I think there is a link on the grad studies webpage, and it does list the ones who are from a developing country. And if you're from one of those countries, you can apply without the application fee.
Here's the link that shows a list of countries that are eligible for fee waiver.
Thank you. So if the country is not listed in there, then you are required to pay the application fee. And it's also very important that when you apply to MasterCard, you have to request for an application fee waiver code at the time of your application. If you don't request for one, you may not receive the application fee waiver code.
And to be eligible for a fee waiver, you need to be the citizenship, and you have to be the resident of that country in order to be eligible for the fee waiver. So if you're Ghanaian living in UK, you're not eligible for the fee waiver.
I just wanted to address another question about the GPA. So, Sunday, are you able to unmute yourself and ask this question? Because I'm not really sure how to respond to your question.
Okay, thank you so much, Lynn. Okay, my question is the grade format of form or level. Does it mean the same thing with second class upper? I'm from Nigeria. In our education system, we make use of second class upper and CGPA. So going through the Mastercard application, I saw grade /form /level. So I don't know if you can explain more on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunday. So yes, we will look at the overall, so the cumulative, can't talk, sorry. cumulative GPA for your degree, and we are looking for an equivalent to a B+ average. So for your country, I believe it is the second class upper, and we will look at the grading keys, the grading scale, to say what a second class upper translates to. So that will be the minimum requirement that we're looking at. Does that answer your question? Yeah, thank you, Rebecca. So it's sometimes Division 1 or 70% and above. So I see that we don't have any questions at this time. We have completed, I think, the session, and we want to thank you so much for taking the opportunity to connect with us today, and I look forward to receiving your applications. And once again, you can also contact us through our email, forestry.cbm@ubc.ca. Thank you all. Have a good evening.